everyone, how you doing? Welcome back to Honest About the Irish, brought to you by yours truly, B-Man is Mad. So, it is Super Bowl week, and everyone's excited about the Super Bowl because even if you don't like football and you can't stand it, there are the commercials. And that's the most important thing to people who cannot stand football that watch it are the commercials. How good are they going to be? How amazing are they going to be? And how bad are some of them going to be? And is there going to be the all-moment commercial? We'll have to find out on Sunday. But for you football fans out there like me, I love the Super Bowl. And there's one thing about the Super Bowl that I don't like in the last 12 years is that it seems like Tom Brady is always in the Super Bowl. Longer than 12 years. I should say probably close to 20. That's what it seems like. That Tom Brady is always in the Super Bowl or he's always flirting with it. Now, what I love most about the Super Bowl is all the food. All the beer, smoking the cigar on your man cave or upstairs or wherever it is that you sit and you watch the game. You're sitting there getting drunk, getting fat, eating buffalo chicken dip, eating pizza, eating bean dip, eating nachos, whatever it is that you eat, pizza, wings. I'm just getting hungry thinking about it right now, and I cannot wait until Super Bowl Sunday. Even when you are with your friends now, I should probably be really quiet and very careful about saying this, is that having friends over and fans over of the team that's playing in the Super Bowl is fun. So, am I allowed to have people over? Am I going to get reported by my neighbor? Is someone going to see a bunch of cars parked out in front of my house, only 2 people, and call someone on me and get the wrong house? Is that something I got to worry about? So I probably shouldn't be saying this, but being around people is fun during the Super Bowl. And, I'm just joking, guys. Relax. I practice my social distancing, so just relax, okay? But if you are around people and you've got more than 2 people in your household and you're watching the Super Bowl, make sure that person sits 25 feet away from you and they can't see the TV, okay? So, the Super Bowl is amazing. It's great. It's wonderful. But like I said, Tom Brady is in it, and I hope Tom Brady loses. I hope the Buccaneers lose. And the most annoying thing about Tom Brady right now, of course, is the Michigan fans are coming out of the woodwork because why is that? Because Tom Brady went to Michigan, and of course Michigan football is completely irrelevant. They were terrible this year, and the only thing they have right now is Tom Brady. So of course they're going to come out and talk about how great Tom Brady is, and I just hope for that reason, of course, including that Tom Brady loses by 2 touchdowns. It's not even close. Maybe even 4 touchdowns would be beautiful. Because eating all that food, drinking all that beer, smoking your cigar around people is fun when he loses. But when it's the other way around, when Tom Brady wins, then it ruins my appetite. It ruins my cigars. It ruins my drinking urge, or the urge to drink. And I'm like, whatever, he's won another Super Bowl. We got to hear about how great he is all year, blah, blah, blah. And you know what? I'd rather see a pouting Tom Brady sitting on the turf, acting like a little baby when he loses, and acting like the 1991 Pistons when they walked off the court without shaking the Bulls' hand or acknowledging that they had lost. That's what Tom Brady is when he loses. He's a sore loser, and we've seen it before. Even this past year with the Bears when they beat the Buccaneers, and Tom Brady forgot which down it was. I wonder where he got his math degree at, where he learned math at. Probably Michigan. But anyways, we saw how he acted after that game. He pouted off and didn't shake the Bears quarterback, and he made excuses because that's just Tom Brady is. He's a sore loser. We always talk about someone's greatness when the person is actually a spoiled little baby and acts like a little you-know-what. And that's what Tom Brady is. So, I digress about that. I hope you enjoy your Super Bowl, and I'm going to say that the Chiefs win maybe like 31-20. And I think that would be great. 31-20, I'm going to say Chiefs over the Buccaneers in the Super Bowl. Okay, enough about the Super Bowl, and let's get into it. And what are the 4 questions that B-Man has for Notre Dame football in 2021? And, let's start off with number 1, the most importantly question. And that is, what will adjustments make on Notre Dame? What will the adjustments be? When you lose players to graduation or to the NFL draft or players who just simply leave Notre Dame. including assistant coaches. We saw it with Clark Lee going to Vandy. We also saw Terry Joseph going to Texas as part of their staff. Of course, Terry Joseph being the assistant defensive coach for Notre Dame. And after a successful season, you see this. With the success that Notre Dame had, you lose your assistant coaches. It's just part of the deal. I've said this many times. And what impact will that have on the team? Will it be positive with the new assistant coaches coming in, or it'll be negative? We'll have to see. Different schemes, different behavior, different coaching styles, different demeanors. I mean, we'll have to see, because every personality is not the same with coaches. Everybody's different. So, also, players coming in, recruits coming in. Most importantly, the quarterback that transferred in from Wisconsin, Jack Cohen, the experience that he's had. What kind of an impact will he have with Notre Dame? You know, Wisconsin's always had productive and very star-studded offensive line, so it has Notre Dame the last couple of years. Brian Kelly has built a pipeline of an offensive line there where he's starting up a factory of great players. So he's going from a great offensive line in Wisconsin, Jack Cohen is, to Notre Dame. So that will provide some experience there for Notre Dame, the quarterback position. But then again, will there be some sort of competition with recruits coming in? And of course, the backup quarterback from 2020 with Drew Pine. We'll just have to see. Because who is going to be the breakout player this year? Who is going to be the Kyron Williams of Notre Dame? Who's going to be the one that's going to put everything on their shoulders and carry this team? We saw it last year with Kyron Williams in the running game, and also the offensive line, and of course, Ian Book. There's a lot of questions to ask. I mean, going 10-0 in a regular season, and of course you lose your last two games of the year, the ACC championship game and the semifinal for the playoff college football down there in Dallas, which was supposed to be the Rose Bowl. There's still some questions that need to be answered as well. But that's a little bit of a question there that concerns me, and we'll just have to see the adjustments that they make, the players coming in, the coaches leaving, and see how Notre Dame overcomes that in 2021. Question number 2. What will COVID-19, what kind of effect will it have on the season? Will it be like last year where they had a minimized season of only 11 games, where they joined a conference? You know, are we going to have to wait until the second or third week until the season starts up again? You know, we'll have to see how things are in September. I hope that the season starts regularly. I hope we have a 12-game season. I hope all the conferences are playing. I mean, that's what I wish for, but safety first, right, folks? So we'll have to see how that trends out. I mean, are we going to have conferences coming up again and saying, let's say in June, we're not going to have a football season. The virus is too severe. We're worried about our kids' safety and the students and all that. And then a couple months later, fold and say, you know what, we're gonna have a season anyways, 8-game schedule. Kind of like we saw with a familiar university that I always talk about on here that I love so much, and that is the University of Michigan. So will that happen again? And how will that affect Notre Dame? Well, in this, the COVID-19 actually goes into the third question, and that is, will Notre Dame stay in the ACC, or will they go back to the independent schedule? Will they go back to being independent? Now, I'm torn between this one because I like the independent schedule. I like some of the teams they got on there. They play Cincinnati, okay, with Marcus Freeman going over to Notre Dame from Cincinnati. That'll be an interesting thing. Also, I like about the independent schedule is that they play Wisconsin in Indianapolis, part of that Shamrock series that was supposed to be played in 2020 in Lambeau Field, which I really wanted to get tickets to, and I've always wanted to go to Lambeau Field. I've never been there. It's a beautiful stadium. I hear it's the best stadium in the NFL. And I know I butchered Lambeau Field. There we go. Lambeau Field. There we go. I know I sounded like it came off different from my tongue. So then going back over to the ACC, I liked them being in the ACC. It was fun. Being in the conference was fun. A lot of people didn't like it because it breaks Notre Dame tradition. Notre Dame is not different. We're above everybody. No, we need to stop talking about that. We as Notre Dame fans need to stop that. Because Notre Dame is no longer different anymore. They're just like everyone else who wants to make money and make revenue with the football, the money that they bring in with fans and TV viewership, and you will get less of that being in the ACC. And NBC knows this. Notre Dame knows this. So they're not stupid. So if the COVID-19 isn't as severe in September as it has been back in March of last year, and they do have a full season, I could see Notre Dame going back to the independent. But if teams are canceling games and they're only staying in their conferences like they did this year and only have one out-of-conference game, then again, and the virus flares up, I could see Notre Dame going back over to the ACC. So I am torn between this one, folks. I really don't know what I want. I like to see them play Wisconsin in Indianapolis. I think that's going to be cool. I hope to get tickets for that, even if tickets are available. I don't know what the crowd sizes are going to be. Is it going to be the same as last year, only at a percentage capacity? Let's say 15 or 18%, which will be impossible to get tickets for that, so it won't even be worth it. And we'll have to see how that happens, because I'd love to take my show on the road and do something mobile, and that would be kind of cool. So we'll just have to see how that turns out. But I guess I should say, if it was up to me, I'd have Notre Dame be in the ACC conference. I think that would be fun. Going to another ACC championship game would be a challenge for them. It would be great. How is Clemson going to be without Trevor Lawrence in 2021? So, I mean, there's a lot of questions you could ask regarding that being Notre Dame being the ACC. Who would the top teams be? So, I mean, that would be an interesting scenario, but let's see what happens with that. And, of course, number 4, I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Now, listen, I have calmed down since then. I've relaxed. I'm not pouting around the house. I'm not overreacting like I do with Notre Dame football. No matter what the breaking news is, I'm either too excited or just too angry or too mad. Will the slight probation that Notre Dame has been put under for 1 year because of the recruiting violation held by assistant coaches and Brian Kelly taking a picture of a recruit in a cafeteria, because for some reason in the NCAA, that is a no-no. Now, will that have some sort of negative effect on the season? Will that be a cloud over Notre Dame? Will that be a cloud over Brian Kelly? Will that cause them not to win some games? Absolutely not. I don't believe one bit. Now, I will say this. And there are fans out there who hate Notre Dame so much, they'll try anything and everything to dig at Notre Dame. And that is that, let's say if Notre Dame has a bad season. Let's say Notre Dame has a rebuilding year or a mediocre year, or they only won 4 or 5 games. And it's a terrible, awful season. Notre Dame fans are pissed. I'm on here screaming at you guys and throwing a tantrum. My face is all red. And B-Man is really bad. Let's say that happens. Then that's going to come up. And even though it was a slight probation restriction that Notre Dame did, recruiting restriction that they did, people are going to talk about it. Okay, it doesn't matter. It's just the way it is, because people love to hate Notre Dame. Now, even if Notre Dame does have a great season, and no matter what season, where they're playing, either in the independent or the ACC championship game again, if they're undefeated, have another undefeated regular season, then you're going to hear, well, they cheated, they're cheaters. And coming from Michigan fans, they shouldn't talk about certain players and certain teams cheating when they're talking about how great Tom Brady is. And Tom Brady is a cheater. Listen, guys, I'm joking, okay? I'm not a conspiracy theorist, okay? I'm just joking. I love to hate on Tom Brady in Michigan. It's a joke. Relax. Don't be oversensitive. So, absolutely not. There will not be some sort of dark cloud over Notre Dame regarding the recruiting violations that Notre Dame committed. I don't think that's going to have any effect on Notre Dame whatsoever. But that's some questions I've seen people ask, and I've heard, and I've read on the internet. And I wanted to give my dig at it and let you guys know what my opinion is. But we'll just have to see how the 2021 season turns out. Those are some interesting questions that I would ask to Brian Kelly. Well, folks, that is pretty much it. Thank you for listening to me. Most importantly, please subscribe, please like, and also leave a comment, and also share, and let me know what your thoughts are on the Super Bowl. Who are you rooting for? What's your favorite thing about the Super Bowl? Is it the food? Is it the drinking? Is it the commercials? Is it being with your friends? No, shh. Don't take my advice. Shh. Social distance. Shh. I don't want the governor coming after me. I don't want to get kicked out of my own house and thrown out and get some sort of fine, okay? So don't take my advice, folks, about having 2 people over to your house, all right? So, shh. But anyways, so tell me what you think. Who are you rooting for? Are you rooting for the Chiefs? Or are you rooting for Tom Brady and the Buccaneers? I hope not. Just joking. But anyways, stay safe. Have a good week, everybody. Enjoy the rest of it. And, of course, as always, go Irish.